Hello everyone and welcome to today's skin chat video. I'm going to be discussing with you the importance of sunscreen, who needs to be wearing it, why you need to be wearing it, and how you need to properly use it and utilize it in your skincare regimen to get the best protection for your skin. In short, everyone needs sunscreen, regardless of race, regardless of gender, age. You need to be wearing sunscreen every day. Whether it's sunny or whether it's cloudy, you should be putting on sunscreen in the morning after you apply your moisturizer. As you may or may not know, excessive exposure to UV rays has been linked to causing premature aging, and it's also been linked with an increased instance of skin cancer development. Every time that we go out into the sun and we are not wearing sunscreen and we do not have SPF on, our skin begins to absorb those UVA and UVB rays. So let me explain a little bit what UVA and UVB rays are and what they do and why we want to apply sunscreen and protect our skin from those rays. So UVA rays are known as the aging rays. They penetrate the deepest, they penetrate and they go all the way down to the dermal layer of skin. And these are the rays that are going to cause a lot of issues with aging. You may not see those issues right away, and in most cases you do not. But as you start to approach your 30s and your 40s, you may notice that you're going to see things like sunspots that are going to start to rise to the surface. You're going to notice things such as a decrease in your collagen. Your skin isn't as elastic, it's not as plump as it used to be. You're going to notice more fine lines and wrinkles. You're going to see less volume in the skin, and that is due to the UVA rays being. Now the UVB rays are known as the burning rays. They do not penetrate as deeply into the skin as the UVA rays, but they do still have negative things that they cause within our body if we absorb too many of those rays. So the UVB rays are responsible for the tanning of the skin, which are ones that actually cause that increase in the coloring of, or the coloration of the skin. But the UVB rays also have been linked to causing increased instances of skin cancer. So that is why it is important that you wear your sunscreen. Okay, so let me explain to you what an SPF is, what an SPF does, and how to properly use an SPF and choose the right type of SPF. So SPF stands for sun protection factor. That number you see after the SPF represents that sunscreen's ability to properly deflect or to prevent the penetration of UVB rays from going into your skin. So for instance, the standard SPF that the American Dermatology Association, or the ADA, recommends is that you use an SPF 30. That is because an SPF 30 is protecting your skin from up to 97% of UVB rays. So when you're using something less than an SPF 30, you're getting less protection. And that is why they recommend doing an SPF 30, because you're going to be getting the most protection or the most bang for your buck, so to speak. Now they do have SPF 50, which is going to protect you and shield your skin from up to 98% of the sun's rays. Okay, so something that is really important and that I have in the past had a lot of clients and a lot of women either ask me about or tell me that they do this is layering SPF products and thinking that if you layer a product, you're increasing your SPF coverage. You're not. Let's say that you have an SPF 15 with another SPF 15 and you put one on and then you put the other on top. Those two combined will not equal a 30. It will still be an SPF 15. And you're still going to be deflecting up to 92%, I think it is, of UVB rays. So layering a product is not increasing its efficacy, and it's not increasing the sun protection factor. So if you want an SPF 30, just purchase the SPF 30 and use it by itself. Okay, I get this question a lot, and it's important that you use and you wear sunscreen every single day. Doesn't matter if you're going to be inside or outside, because even when you're inside of your home, your skin can still absorb UVB rays. You want to make sure on cloudy days that you're wearing your sunscreen. Even though it's cloudy and you don't see the sun, it's still there. Our skin will absorb a whopping 80% of UVB rays on cloudy days. So you want to make sure you're protecting your skin on those days. You want to make sure when you're going to be at the beach, or you're going to be outside in the snow, or near any surface that's going to reflect the sun's rays, that you wear your SPF and you're very consistent with reapplying, because again, that's going to increase your need for SPF, since those surfaces are reflecting those sun rays and they can reflect it back onto your skin, and you want to make sure. And as far as how much sunscreen you should be using, so it's a general rule of thumb that you are to use 1 ounce of sunscreen for every part of or piece of exposed skin. So a good way to remember it is you're supposed to have a shot glass full of sunscreen, and this is supposed to cover any exposed areas. And I feel like that's typically a good recommendation for everyday usage. Now, if you're going to be at the beach or someplace where, of course, more skin is being exposed, you're going to want to double that to make sure and ensure that you're covering all the exposed pieces of skin. Especially if you're in a bikini, you want to make sure that you're covering all those exposed pieces of skin and getting adequate protection. Another thing, you want to make sure if you're doing a lot of swimming or a lot of sweating, that you are first and foremost wearing a sunscreen that is sweat resistant or water resistant. There is no such thing as a waterproof or sweat-proof sunscreen. Making sure that when you get that sunscreen, you read the manufacturer's instructions on how long is it sweat resistant or water resistant for, and if you've been sweating excessively or after you have finished swimming, making sure that you reapply your sunscreen. You should be applying your sunscreen 15 minutes before you leave the house or before sun exposure, and you should be reapplying while you're outside in the sun every 2 hours. So there is a wide variety and a ridiculous selection of various sunscreen types out there on the market. But there's one thing that I would recommend that you look for with your sunscreen, and that is that you look for a sunscreen that is that offers broad spectrum protection. And that means it's going to protect against UVA rays, which are the aging rays, as well as UVB rays, and sticking to a minimum of SPF 30, and always you can do a maximum of SPF 50. Making sure that if you are going to be using this sunscreen primarily outside, when you're going to be at the beach or you're going to be swimming or there are outdoor sports involved, that sunscreen is sweat resistant and are water resistant, and that you have a clear understanding of how long that sweat resistance and water resistance is for. Generally, it can be anywhere from 35 minutes to 85 minutes, but that is something that you want to know, so that way if that time has elapsed, you can go ahead and reapply your sunscreen. Now, other than those things, they have different formulations for different skin types and different skin needs. For instance, let's talk about the kind of creamy or lotion-based formulas. Those are the most popular. So I would recommend using a cream or a lotion-based sunscreen if you have a drier skin type. This is probably not for most ladies, we tend to like wax or sugar or shave our hair. But for your husbands or significant others that are more hairy, using a sunscreen that is a gel formulation would be a great idea, since gel is really good for those hairy areas. It absorbs very well. Using a spray type of sunscreen is very convenient if you're on the go. It's also very convenient if you have little ones, and it's a lot faster and easier to spray on. But you need to make sure when you're using those sunscreen sprays that you're getting the adequate protection that is needed, and that you're reapplying often. Around the eyes and the ears, you can use a stick formulation. For your lips, they have tons of lip balms and chapsticks that have SPF included in them to make protection for that easier. So there are just a wide variety of sunscreen products, and that's just kind of a general guideline of what type would be best for what situation or for what need. So those were all of my tips for sunscreen, and how to use it properly and why you're to use it. I hope that you learned something regarding sunscreen and regarding how to properly protect your skin every day. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed today's skin chat, and I will see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.